you for braving apocalypse, not right now, to come here tonight, snowpocalypse. Thank you, Reg, thank you, Lucas, and thank you, our warrior queen, Amanda Foreman. The only drawback with being friends with Amanda is that it's an invitation to chronic midlife crisis. You watch this woman publishing her tomes that set Civil War history on its ear while raising 5 Mensa scholars, all named after characters in epic Greek poetry, all in the context of a marriage as blooming as her English garden. And it is impossible not to ask yourself, what the hell have I been doing with my life? This assignment was no different. Susan, come speak on the topic of running wild. Really, Amanda? I am 52 years old. I live on the Upper East Side. I have been married to and sleeping with the same man for 18 years. I don't run wild. I go to sleep at 9 and have naughty dreams about Bates, the valet from Downton Abbey. The only thing running wild at my house is my fevered perimenopausal erotic imagination. Looking back at my youth, meet me later, mister. Looking back at my youth, I regret to inform you, is no more exciting. In my 20s, the only place I ran wild was at the last call sale at Neiman Marcus. In a moment of utterly depressing epiphany, I realized that I had led my life with all the wild and crazy abandon of the widowed Queen Victoria. How did we get to this sad and constipated pass? The answer is simple. It's my upbringing. It is how I was raised, and for very good reason. By way of explanation, let's go back half my life ago. I'm 26 years old, cruising down Topanga Canyon in my red Acura Integra with the license plate that says M. Bovary for Madame Bovary. At the wheel is the only straight man in Los Angeles who knows that those letters do not stand for MB ovary. I kid you not. Wendy Farnerman, you're here. You can attest to what it's like out there. Anyway, he's my boyfriend at the time, and he's beautiful. Huge cornflower blue eyes, rakishly long blonde hair, and a mind as scrumptious as the rest of him. He can riff on everything from Jacques Derrida to the lyrics of Bob Marley. He's a free spirit, a sculptor. That night I'm wearing earrings he's crafted with his own hands. And ladies, let's talk about those hands. If sex were an art form, this would be its Michelangelo. I am not just talking about good sex. I am talking about the earth has moved. I have been to the mountaintop, taken the Lord's name in vain, and reached the universal yes, sex. This is fantastic. We arrive, this is running wild, ladies and gentlemen. We arrive at our destination. And I'll be proper later. Anyway, we arrive at our destination. It's a shack by the water where freshly caught fish is grilled and served to you at wooden tables. We're having a great time with his chums who are lawyers and bankers. It's all going swimmingly until someone whips out a joint. And Queen Victoria here freezes in abject horror. Why? Because my white Anglo-Saxon Protestant father and black Haitian American mother raised me in the catechism of all black children of strivers. When and where you enter, the whole race enters with you. Your every action must refute, not confirm, racial stereotypes. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you think you might bring the entire civil rights movement crashing to the ground, drugs are not an option. Meanwhile, back at the table, the lads are swapping war stories. The first time I was busted with weed at Exeter and my dad bailed me out. They light up. I am out of my seat like a jack-in-the-box. I fly to the other side of the restaurant to make friends with the fry cook. If the police come in, I'm going to say, I don't know these people. On the way home, when we're finally alone, Michelangelo turns to me and says, "What's up?" And I say, I don't do drugs. I have never done drugs. I will never do drugs. It's like, whoa, when did Sweet Sue become Our Lady of Eternal Constipation? Anyway, we get back to my place, and he goes to fetch something from the trunk of my car. A sweater, I think. No, it's another joint. I say, don't you get it? I'm not white. When and where I enter, the whole race enters with me. That is why I am perpetually overdressed. And you would be too if you were trying to reject 500 years of prejudice every time you stepped out of your door. By the way, I'm not just representing black people. I'm representing my father's family. I'm the first black descendant of Governor Bradford of Massachusetts Bay Colony. I'm representing my mother's family. I'm representing Haitian Americans, Caribbean Americans, people from mixed marriages. I am representing everyone with the possible exception of the ethnic Chinese. I can't screw up. He looks at me, dumbfounded. He mumbles an apology. But I can see he just doesn't understand. And how can he? To him, I am not a color, much less the unofficial ambassador for all people of color everywhere. I'm Susan, the woman with whom he shares a bed and a family history. We have ancestors who were married in the 18th century. But in this moment, we are bound by history and divided by experience. We have reached an impasse. Well, not quite that night, ladies. This is Michelangelo, like a good Scotch, one more for the road. But the next day, I have thought often over the years of that night and of my blind acceptance of the catechism of honorable negritude and what it has cost me in roads not taken, joys forsaken, therapy bills, $8 million and counting. As Michelangelo said to me recently, we're still friends, Susan, running wild is running free. Indeed, when I had my beautiful daughter nearly 12 years ago, I decided not to impose upon her the great burden of blackness oblige. But I am reminded on a daily basis by conversations with friends with sons and by reading the newspaper that I could not accord that freedom to a son of mine. This is the reality in a society in which we are bound by history and, nay, incestuous sex. Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, anyone? The founding fathers were founding fathers. And divided by experience. But I do not despair, because the magnificent evolution of our democracy proves that Martin Luther King was right. The arc of history does tend towards justice. We have to mention Martin Luther King because it's almost Black History Month, people. And because I had a white father who revered his wife's history and family history, because I had a black grandfather who embraced him as a son, because I had a white grandmother, a colonial dame of America, who dared the members of her caste to reject her black grandchildren, because I had a defiant black mother who believed with her dying breath in the possibility of a world she did not live to see, my hope for our future and my faith in the redemptive power of the human spirit run as wild and free as my fevered, nasty, perimenopausal, erotic imagination. Believe.